Hello everyone and welcome to a really wild game that everyone on the internet is talking about. It is of course Mateusz Bartel versus Vladislav Artemiev from the European Online Club Cup playoffs round 3, and it's well, quite the game. Sorry about the e4 already being on the board. We're gonna play it, don't worry. Mateusz Bartel is a 4 times Polish national champion, and well, you all know Vlad. We've featured him many times on this channel. I think this is the first time that we are featuring Mateusz, so get ready for it, as this is quite an impressive game. So Mateusz with the white pieces opens with e4, and here we have e5, so nothing out of the ordinary. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. The Ruy Lopez is on the board. We have a6, Morphy's defense, and now bishop to a4. Even when we're not covering the Morphy saga, we kind of always have to mention Morphy. We have knight to f6 and now knight to c3, and here bishop to c5. So the 4 knights, sort of an opening of the Ruy Lopez, also known as the Tarrasch variation of the Ruy Lopez, and here most common is just the castle, but Mateusz goes for bishop captures on c6, and it's not a new idea. This bishop for knight trade in the Ruy Lopez is very well known. We have d captures on c6 and the d3 now, adding another defender here, preparing to develop the dark square bishop. So here you have to defend the e5 pawn somehow. You could do it, maybe bishop back to d6, maybe queen d6, maybe queen e7. Here Artemiev goes for queen to e7 and now h3, not allowing any bishop to g4 action. And here there is a quite a famous game. It was played this year in the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. Magnus himself had this position against David Anton Guijarro, where a knight to d7 was played. Magnus was able to win this game, but here we have h6, and now it is already as of move 8 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how it continues. Mateusz develops the light square bishop. We have bishop to e3. And even though Vladislav could capture here and maybe double white's e pawn, it's not really all that impressive. You give white the semi-open f file to attack. You give him additional support to execute the d4, and these are none of the things that black is interested in doing. So instead, after this bishop to e3, we have bishop back to d6, and now white castles. We have c5 now. You no longer have to worry about white pushing d4 here because it's just very well protected. And now white needs to figure out how to continue this game. And here we have knight to d2, making room for this f4 pawn to be pushed, for the f pawn to be pushed to f4, and now g5. Vladislav stops this as well. Now the f4 square is also nicely protected, as well as the d4 square. And now knight to c4, putting pressure on the bishop here. We have bishop to e6, continuing development, and now knight captures on d6 with check. This is an interesting capture, but I don't think there was a reason to get rid of this bishop. It wasn't really doing anything. It was pretty much hemmed in, in between his own pawns, and this way you just fix black's pawn structure. But okay, we have captures, and now knight to e2. Again, white needs to figure out how to create some sort of a breakthrough in the position, because if you don't, then all you're doing is waiting for black to make some sort of a breakthrough. And here knight to e2, most likely with the idea of c3 and d4, but Artemiev does not allow that. He pushes g4, and now already g captures on h3 could be pretty big. The h3 also is covered twice by the bishop. Rook is coming to g8, then black also might have some ideas of castling queenside, bringing the other rook into the attack as well. So a lot of ideas here, and white does not want to open up the g file, so h4, and now knight to h5, bringing the knight into the attack, also threatening the immediate queen captures on h4. So g3, stopping that, and now how do you continue the attack? Well, here Vladislav goes for the amazing f5. And now, if you don't react to this, f4 is coming, and then, I mean, you're just getting rolled over. So here, e captures on f5, but now not recapturing, but rather bishop to d5, grabbing hold of this beautiful diagonal, and now things are about to get very, very dangerous. We have knight to c3, going after this bishop, and also after the g4 pawn, so you have to defend both. So bishop to f3, attacking the queen, and now queen to d2. Now going after this h6 pawn, and you have to be very careful here. It's very easy to make a bad move in a position such as this one, because, for example, if queen f6, you add a defender to the pawn, already knight e4, and you're getting wrecked. You either have to give up this extremely strong attacker. After this, the f5 pawn will be nicely defended, and if you capture here, then you might even blunder your queen. So it would be a pretty bad position. So instead, knight the g7, the absolute only way to continue this position to play for the advantage with black. Sacrifice the h5 pawn, h6 pawn. We have bishop captures, and now comes knight captures on f5. So, okay, a bit of a pawn trade, not a sacrifice. And now black has to be very careful. And here, there really is no good move, because what can you play here? There's now a double attack on the bishop here, and you could move the bishop, but the question is where. There really isn't a good square. There is one good square, and that is bishop to g5. But bishop to g5 simply doesn't work, and it doesn't work for a very specific reason. Interestingly, well, pause the video here and try to find the absolute best move for black while I give you a couple of seconds, and then we're going to discuss this a bit more. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding the absolutely crushing queen captures on g5. Of course, also for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, this is completely winning. Sorry, not that. Knight captures on h4. This is what I meant. Knight captures on h4. Black does sacrifice the queen, but not obviously by capturing. Knight captures on h4. And this is what I wanted to talk about here. If you ask the engine, what does the engine think about bishop to g5? The engine says, yeah, that's perfectly fine. And there really isn't a good reply for black. But of course, I knew that this was not the case. So here I even gave the engine some time. I went to the gym before recording, and then when I started analyzing the position, then I went to take a shower, and I allowed the engine to crunch the numbers here in this position, and then only at when the engine reaches depth 27, it shows the truth of the position, that the knight captures on h4 queen sacrifice is just completely crushing, and there is no defense against this. Whatever you do, it's just completely crushing. Even if you go after the knight, even if you ignore the queen, you just get rook captures, and that's it. Rook to h1 is checkmate, and if you capture the rook, queen captures, and then queen to h1 will be checkmate. There is no defending this. So instead, after this knight captures on h4, bishop captures on e7 was played. Mateusz accepts the queen sacrifice, but now comes knight to f5, now threatening rook to h1 checkmate. So bishop to h4, you have to block this, and now knight captures on h4. And again, you cannot accept this, because then rook captures and rook to h1 will be checkmate. So after knight to h4, queen to g5 was played, and now again black has to be very careful. There is only one winning move here, and I'm sure you all can see it even without pausing the video. But just in case, for those of you who really want to enjoy this game, pause the video one more time and find the winning idea for black while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding the exact winning square for the knight. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's knight to not there, knight to f5. And this is now completely winning for black. There is nothing you can do here. Rook to h1 will be checkmate. Of course, the knight cannot be captured. So queen to g6 check was played, king to d8, and now queen to f6 with check. You cannot now block with the knight because queen captures a rook. So king to c7, now the rook is defending the rook here, so you don't really get anything by sacrificing the queen, and the knight on f5 is preventing the queen from capturing on f3. White might decide to give back the queen, even though the position would be winning for black. You simply do not allow this. So knight to d5 check. Here we have king to c6, and it was in this position on move 27 that Mateusz Bartel resigned the game. And what an amazing victory for Vladislav Artemiev. This is just a true masterpiece. And well, it's hard, you know, I constantly want to go back to the Morphy saga, but it's like day after day there's a masterpiece, which is not surprising, as there are a lot more games played, you know, nowadays online than there were in any previous year. So I guess there's only going to be more and more brilliant games for us to cover, which is great. So yeah, after king to c6, you resign. There's no way to continue harassing the black king. You might try some checks, but for example, check captures. There is no continuation for white, and any other check might be something like this. You might be able to, you know, trick black in allowing this, but then you can capture, but it's still not gonna it's still not gonna matter. So king b6 can be played, and then after knight d5, check king a7, and that's just it. There's no continuing this. So after king to c6, white resigned, and what an amazing game by Vladislav Artemiev. Congratulations on this marvelous achievement, and I'm pretty sure everyone agrees this is definitely a day improver. Okay. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Kalim Ahmed, Nick Watson, Henry Spraggins, Pesnik Saoriona, and the Balkovich Enterprises for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Morphy saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.